Yo, peace. It be the God, Lord victorious. We evolving our lifestyle and all that, so I don't want to hold this up too long, but we're going to speak a little bit about the basis of true peace. We're going to briefly examine some ideas and things that we might be doing as a community that might be preventing us from achieving peace, and some of the things that we might be doing that might be on the right track. So, let's move on. Now, how many of us consider whether or not, we resist doing the things that would lead to our own peace and then complain that times are hard? You ever heard of that person? You ever been that person? I've been that person for real, for real. I'm going to say to you like this. When we resistance is futile, as they say, right? Truth can be rejected or accepted, but it can never be disproved as being truth. So, in that area, we got to do better. I'm going to move on because I said I was going to keep it brief. So, to resist, basic definition is to withstand the actions or the effects of. Now, if you withstand any actions, that's like somebody trying to oppress you or aggress you or anything that would just be to, place you in a state of discomfort or being uncomfortable is something that should be resisted, definitely. There's a lot of strategies on how we go about resisting things like that, but I'm not going to get into that here and now. That's for another video. And if we resist the effects of something, it's like, a person might, like for instance, in New York one time, he was trying to, buy up a whole bunch of land and near a community, I guess, of people that didn't appreciate having the strip clubs built in their community. So they went to the local municipal courts and everything, and they fought against that, construction happening in their community. And so that's like resisting against, the effects of something that they didn't want those effects in their community around their children. And they may have felt that it was a little more less morality, and that would bring about different type of elements to their community that they don't have to deal with currently. Can't fault nobody for that. But antibodies help us to resist infection, right? And so we should be resisting certain things. There are things that should be resisted, but then what if we've been misprogrammed that we're resisting the things that we need to be attracting and drawing in and opening ourselves to, and we're opening ourselves and drawing in things that we need to be resistant. So it's important to pay attention. Good strategies, though, help us to resist invasion and enslavement. And that's just another way of using it in a sentence. Moving on. And resist is an attempt to prevent. Now, when you're trying to prevent something, you're trying to prevent what? What are we trying to prevent? We're trying to prevent the becoming of, right? This is a condition that didn't exist yet. That's what it's to prevent. The word prevent automatically indicates that this doesn't yet exist as a full-scale reality. It may be a thought, and maybe even in plans and in the works, but it didn't yet manifest in a full completion of 360 degrees yet. So therefore, you're trying to prevent this either by taking some kind of action to prevent it, to thwart the plans of the development of something, or by just arguing and reasoning with the people and striving to reason with people. So anyway, we're going to move on. More resistance that I want to talk about. You can't resist. And in order to not resist, you got to learn to be at peace with whatever happens. You got to be at peace with whatever happens. It really doesn't matter what happens. Like, be at peace with it. Some people try to hold on to things and keep the reality the same, the way that it's always been, and they don't grow and they prevent others from growing. And so everybody is like, it's life inside of each of us, right? Because you're alive, right? But everybody is striving to prevent that force of life that exists in each one of us from developing and expressing through ourselves and through other people. It's like we want everybody to be as limited as we are. So we need to pay attention to that, Also, resistance is futile simply because change is the most consistent law in the universe, right? change is just continuous. Like, what's not going to change? Like, the position of your heart is changing in your chest right now. Your eyes are blinking. Your body position is maybe changing. The position that the blood was in a second ago is in a different position now. The planet Earth is in a different position than it was. The spinning, the water, everything, the oceans, the fish, trees, insects, animals. That's what life is, right? So it's like we striving to hold things in place because it feels familiar to us, right? So being that it feels familiar to us, we don't want to have to adapt. We don't want to have to grow. And that's when you really understand what you're doing. You're resisting universal law, but you're a part of the universe, but you're just a child of the universe, right? So, basically what happens is that, you go against your own nature, you go against your own makeup, you go against your own source, and that source is from within, because technically the change that happens comes from within. Things outside of us just offer us opportunities to develop from within. Moving on. You gotta be at peace with when it changes. The thing about why people don't want to let it change is because they know they're not prepared, so we gotta look at preparation as a part of our daily lives, and if you black and you coming from being in slavery, then you probably, you gotta think about it this way. Did the slave master want the slave preparing himself for anything? Like, why are you having an independent thought or an objective would be the kind of the thinking on behalf of the slave master, I would think, right? Because that would be how you continue to keep a slave a slave. So, you got to constantly watch him. So in the process of trying to make a slave of someone else, you end up giving up the very thing you're trying to get from them. So I'm going to say like this. You got to be at peace regardless to what happens. And don't resist it. If it's happening, you don't like it. Like, let's say you're in a painful breakup, or you feel yourself about to lose your job or your apartment, like, you could fight it. I mean, obviously you want to fight something like that, definitely. But what I'm saying is, like, if you see it's inevitable and it's like it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back, like more might say in a relationship, right, ladies, or brothers, and you see it keep coming back, then the only thing that you really can do is what? Just kind of accept that, this must be time in the universe for this to happen, and there's probably something else on my journey. But if you block that right now, you're not going to be able to see what else was, striving the universe in your own path, and the laws of the universe, rather, is striving to unfold upon you in consistency with the law of your being. See, the law of your being requires things to be different, because as you change, right, the law of your being is radiating into the universe differently. Therefore, the laws of the universe have to respond in accordance with the law of your being. And each of us give off a frequency in accordance with the law of our being, or where we at in our minds, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. You see what I'm saying? So, I won't say in our bodies are going to be in alignment with our minds also, because it's just the way that we, as consciousness express into this physical reality of length, width, and height, and gas, liquids, and solids. So, moving on. Dissatisfaction is the catalyst for change. So there's got to be change, right? Stop resisting. Let it happen. Stop resisting. Let it happen. Accept it. Buddha said acceptance is the end of all suffering. Now, Buddha means the enlightened one. I would say the dude was pretty enlightened, right? Because, if you saying that, if you saying, if I accept this, I'll stop suffering. So that means the suffering ain't even coming from outside. It's coming from how I've been looking at it the whole time. That's crazy. Let go. Just let go, man. Let it happen, man. They, in the Tao Te Ching, right, there's a line in the philosophy of the Taoists, right? And it says that, the master lets things come as they choose, and lets things leave as they choose, and yet remains master and at peace through the whole situation. And once again, you're not a master over anything or anyone unless you can detach and walk away from it or them. You are out of alignment. This might be what you had to accept. That you are out of alignment. Your timing might be off. Your strategy doesn't fit the situation. Or your strategy just might not work on the people because they psychologically are constructed in a different way. The configuration internally is different, and your whole way of doing things is used to dealing with people maybe at a different level, a lower level possibly. So it's important that we remain self-aware. We need to ask ourselves a few questions. What kind of things do we say to ourselves? Do we say kind things to ourselves? And if not, if you're always beating yourself up, then, why expect mercy from the world? Stop complaining that it's hard, The world gonna follow and suit with the way that you treat yourself. And even if they not there to hear you treat yourself messed up, guess what? Your energy radiates that you've been treating yourself messed up when you was in private, when you're in public. Second thing, so say good things to yourself. Compliment yourself. Appreciate yourself, you dig? Do you understand that you must respect yourself in order to learn respect for others? Like, you have to. Like, because where you're going to get the respect from that you're going to share with somebody else if you ain't come with it, right? If I come with an empty bottle, then how I share some water with you? You see? So there's first off, there has to be respect inside of me. And therefore, if I move to Africa, if I move to Brazil, if I move anywhere in the world, then where original people are, then I naturally carry that with me, that respect for them because of the respect for me. Or I'm going to live in this way regardless, you know what I'm saying? But I respect what y'all got going on, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I respect what I got going on. So again, do you understand the events in your life that you can control and the ones you can't? Because there's some things that you're just not going to have no control over. And that's the problem with the resistance factor we was talking about and learning to let go. And just realize this ain't one of those things. There must be, this is a part of a process playing out right now, universally, and I gotta let that happen. Things are going from knowledge to born right now, and new ciphers are striving to manifest, and I'm standing in the way of progress. It's your choice and your choice alone if you experience peace. So I'm outlining the true ways to peace right now. So here's a fact. We're only going to experience the level of peace which our productivity levels allow us to experience. So, if you're not productive, then why would you think that the world would give you peace? Like the most wealthiest people, those are the people that the world don't really kind of go against too much. They just, because one, they're in position to not really want to go against them. And two, like you want favors from these people, so you don't want to go against them. So we only experience the level of peace which our productivity levels allow us to experience. And that's something important to pay attention to. We only gonna experience that. So be productive, my guy. Be productive, young lady. You heard? It's your choice though. And ain't nobody else can make that decision for you because there's nobody inside of your head thinking right now besides you. There's nobody feeling and experiencing this conversation besides you. But know this. You're not going to end up in conflict with one of your partners or one of your people or one of your girlfriends or homegirls unless you want something from them. Like sometimes we want things from people. We want people to listen to us. We don't want to feel like they disagree. We want them to agree with us and they disagree and then we mad. But that's how we fell out because we wanted something from them. You got to think when we come from a position of wanting, you coming from a position of straight weakness to begin with, you dig? So from a position of wanting is where we need to stay away from that as a whole. Like that's not what we want to do or where we want to be. We want to always be in a position where we come in rather with offerings and being more attractive because a person that's coming with offerings is definitely more attractive than a person that's coming from a position of wanting. Am I right? So y'all, once again, this is the God Lord Victorious and we evolving our lifestyle in the urban community. You heard me? So y'all, I'm going to say peace.